it was very tame in terms of there wasn't any personal attacks, nobody going after each other. Is that you see that as strategic? I mean, how are you guys going to differentiate yourselves from each other? It seems like you're very close on a lot of issues.
I didn't see it that way. I thought I distinguished myself as being the only person up there who was capable of being the next mayor out of this crowd of three. Look, I was answering questions. That's what we were asked to do, ask questions. If we had a free-flowing debate where people can ask me questions and I can ask them questions, I think that's when you'll see a little bit more proactivity. But I'll be honest with you, I think I proved that talking about serious issues in this city, and we do have very, very serious issues, is the most important thing to do.
You made a point about the UFT. You said something like, the teachers are better than their union. Can you expand on what you were saying there?
I think, most times when you put people together, there's synergy. But the reality is the teachers' union supports each and every one of the teachers, the good ones and the bad ones. One of my opponents started talking about the rubber room. Look, we need to be able to discipline our teachers in a way. Not all teachers are the same. Those that are great teachers, I want them to help the younger and less experienced teachers become great teachers. And I think the union is fighting it all across the way. Look, Michael Mulgrew said, in no uncertain terms, that the only reason why Mike Bloomberg wants to have an evaluation system is to fire teachers. I think that's blatantly wrong. He wants to fire bad teachers. Here's what I want to do. I want to evaluate teachers. I want to determine what they do great, what they don't do great, and make them all great. And so I'm going to work directly with the teachers, go directly to the teachers, and make sure they understand that I know what they want to do in life, how they want to train young minds, and to absolutely make sure that I give the teachers all the resources they need.
You spoke pretty highly of the mayor a number of times on a number of issues. Are you seeking his endorsement in the race?
Quite honestly, I haven't thought about it. Let's wait till I win the primary, and then I'll give him a call.
What do you think, when you're here talking and trying to reach voters, what are you thinking of as the voter or voters that you're trying to reach out there?
I was actually thinking about the middle class who live in Queens and in Staten Island, parts of in the Bronx, all over the place. I grew up in the Bronx, but I live in Brooklyn. I naturally think about the boroughs outside of Manhattan, and that's who I always think about who I'm talking to. Those folks who live outside of Manhattan.
What do you think about? You mentioned also that you on retroactive pay that it's not negotiating in public to say you wouldn't do retroactive pay or you would require more from workers in terms of health care. What do you think about the fact that your Democratic opponents are all kind of saying they're not going to negotiate in the press? Are they just like ducking?
But they're also saying some of them will give retroactive pay or some level of retroactive pay. John said it. But quite honestly, here's what negotiating is saying: what the base rate would be, what specific work rules you will change. It's not wrong in laying out the parameters of exactly what we want to do. But look, I said it before, and I really mean it. We're not Detroit, but if we start doing things and making steps towards Detroit, we have to be very, very careful. We can't raise taxes. We can't do retroactive pay. We've got to make sure that we're on the road to continuing to see our economy grow and not contract. And get into the situation like is in Detroit. Let me tell you, over the last 20 years, think about what's happened in New York City. The transformation in New York over the last 20 years, and think about what happened in Detroit over the last 20 years. That's what happens when you make bad decisions. Cities go bankrupt.
What kind of concessions would you want to see from the unions?
Now that's a question that would be negotiating in public.
But you want some sort of additional concession for health care, right? Is that fair to say?
I think everybody consistently has said that the city workers should participate more in their health care.
What position of your opponent did you find, what response of your opponents did you find least satisfactory today at the debate?
I probably have to watch the debate to tell you. I quite honestly don't know.
Where did you disagree with them the most?
Well, no, I think the one area where we disagreed was what was it about retro pay. There were a couple of issues that we disagreed. Look, when the people go into the voting booth, they're going to ask the following questions: who's the right person to help fix the fiscal problems in New York? Who's the right person to make sure that the city continues to be safe? Who's the right person to make sure that they're going to pick up the garbage every day? Who's going to educate our children? And who's never going to forget to pick up the snow? Those are the issues that are going to be important for the voters when they go into the voting booth.
During the debate, you spoke sort of on the topic about distinctions between yourself and Rudy Giuliani, and that this would be the first term of a Lhota administration, not the third term of the Giuliani administration. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you see his administration as a positive and possibly as a negative model to work from?
Look, quite honestly, as I said, January 1st will be the beginning of the Lhota administration. There'll be comparisons to Bloomberg, and there'll be comparisons to Giuliani. There'll be comparisons to David Dinkins as well. And quite honestly, Joe Lhota is going to have a different type of administration. One of the things I'm going to do that Rudy Giuliani did that Mike Bloomberg stopped is having monthly town hall meetings, go to each community board for 2.5 hours, bringing in the deputy mayors and all the commissioners and answering the questions from the public. That's something I really want to do. One of the things that I've been known for my entire life is talking to everybody. It's probably my greatest strength and also my greatest weakness. I will talk to everybody, and I will do that as mayor as well.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.